When I was 14 years old, I decided I wanted to kill myself. And then the next day I decided I wanted to be a mother. I've had money, I've not had money, and I can tell you which state I was mostly thinking about suicide in. Sometimes I think about to the time in my life in the last recent years where I was less suicidal, the most happiest that I've ever been. Sometimes I think back and I'm like, it was when I started taking my antidepressants. No, it was when my dad had to give me a lot of money from child support. So it had its difficulties. It was nice for a while. I had never felt that sort of, I don't know. In this capitalist society, there is always someone on the bottom, depressingly so. So when we talk about suicide, I find it remiss to deny the practicality of suicide and poverty. You know, and right now I'm broke. I mean, I did it to myself. But I'm broke, I'm angry, I'm depressed, I feel stupid. When I do get money, I lack the financial literacy to know what the fuck to do with it, or how to save it, or to kind of not be so impressed by the money that I'm like, we have to, like, I've got to spend this, and it's so hard to kind of navigate that, being in awe of this money, and instead of like being like, this is what I should do next with it, this is how I save it, this is how I can, you know, this with it. I'm just so like, I can finally get the fucking meal that I can eat here, I can do this, I want to spend my money, like, I don't know how to save the money because I haven't seen people do that in front of me. And I would be lying to you if I said I didn't feel envious of people, people that have rich parents, you know, rich grandparents, that know how to properly not fucking spend their credit cards or not feel the need that they have to, or kind of do this splurging thing. I feel envious of people with internships. I feel envious of people that know how to work that. I even feel envious of people that grew up in maybe a less financially, in a different financial environment, because in my financial environment, I grew up on kind of like watching people spend a lot of money and then just be poor. So now that's like the kind of headspace that I'm in. My grandmother got $20,000 and like some fucked up tax return for something. She spent it all in months. She spent it all in months. She didn't know what to do with it. She just spent it all. That's it. And then she was very poor again. And then we were fucking homeless and like house hopping and then bed bugs and then this and this and that. It's like she didn't know what to do with that money, and like $20,000 in, you know, 2010. Like that's not that bad, you know? I mean, it's definitely a fucking down payment on a house. It makes me so angry with myself that I don't know how to deal with money. It makes me, like I said, I've been so depressed and angry all the time, and I don't know how to navigate that, and I don't know how to not push the people away I love most, and I don't know how or what I'm really doing, and I've kind of lost myself in a way, just throughout everything, but just the changes in life. It just feels like when you're living in a world that kind of doesn't give a fuck. It's just like, how do you give a fuck? How do you know, in the places that my family has been, that I have been at times, you know, there's this cycle, and it traps people at the bottom, and anybody that kind of tries to grapple their fingers up, the system will step on you. It just will. So you say, what is the way out? You know, what is the way out? And it seems like there is no way out. The majority of suicides happen in middle to lower income countries. It's a fact that suicides happen more in low poverty. Why do we not focus on this more? Why, when we bring up mental health and suicide, we never focus on things like job security, people finding a place to stay, people having a place to eat? Those things Those three things, I think, will significantly help mental health and suicide in this country. Who wants to be alive in a country that doesn't care if they eat, doesn't care where they sleep, doesn't care if they have a coat, doesn't care what their kids do, doesn't care about fucking disabled people, doesn't care about any fucking minority, doesn't care about immigrants? Why would you, as a person that fits into any of those several traits, why would you want to do that? As I said, when we talk about suicide, when we talk about mental health, we need to talk about the fucking wage disparity in this country. So in these cases, no, I don't think suicide is cowardly or selfish. I think suicide is, what I think suicide is someone's answer to a harsh brain or a harsh reality. And I want to hammer this point in a little bit more. That is not to say you should kill yourself if you're impoverished. That's not to say I should kill myself. I've thought about it in a practical way, and I can't even tell you the perfect thing to say, but for me, this is why I decided it is not an option. And the thing that pushes me is maybe the infinitesimal chance, maybe the shot in the dark to be happy and to succeed. When I was a kid, when these thoughts started to happen in my mind, the thing that I leached onto was that. When I was a kid, I always hoped that I had somebody that I could talk to. That I had somebody that would hold me. And you know what? I never had any real personal connections with a lot of people that I could just talk to and not feel embarrassed or stupid, and I just felt good. And to have somebody that loves me, and I have that in my life. I have someone that I feel truly loves me, and I can be an asshole sometimes. I can be an asshole sometimes. I can suck sometimes. The people I love most, I push away. Out of embarrassment for myself, out of embarrassment for my feelings, out of this self-hating thing. And the fact that I have someone right now, and that's not everything, and that's not the end-all be-all, but I have someone that cares about me and would genuinely be shattered if anything happened to me. My biggest goal as a kid was just to be comfortable, to have a place to stay, to not move around so much. If I could give that to her, if I could give her comfort, a shot in the dark, if there's a shot in the dark, why not just take it? If I'm willing to hurt myself, if I'm willing to end it all, if I'm willing to gamble so hard against myself, why not just gamble the opposite? Why not just spin myself around and just fucking shoot it in the dark? Because that's funny. Because I'm willing to die. I would be willing to die. So it would be crazy to not just be willing to stay alive a little longer and see where it takes me, and see if I truly give it a shot, what my life could be like. If I truly was not okay with being okay, and I truly pushed myself to go farther, and I truly stuck it in the mud, and I truly cared about something and didn't push somebody away, what it would be like. And even if I have to pretend to do that for a while, and it starts to happen, that's what it'll have to be. If there's any shot that anybody will hear me, I would take my shot.
Look who stepped up in that bitch. Quickly put out the tag on the trick. Give me that grin in your bitch, I gon' go. Empress go knock your way through the door. Creeping up on us, ain't feeling so high. We smoke a fucking blunt full of the fat. Put